Thanks for dropping by. Following my visit to the bonsai boot sale, I'm sure you're all dying to know what I bought. No? Well, I'm going to show you anyway. So I'll swing the camera around. We have a carrier bag with things in, which I can take out one at a time. You have to do an unbagging, unwrapping video, and then we'll carry on from there. So I'll swing the camera around and we'll see what's in the bag. Okay, the boot sale from my point of view was a major success. Early start in the day, fair enough, I'm up anyway, not a big deal. And set off, I stopped and had a bit of breakfast near Warminster, then carried on to the site, which was supposed to open at 9 o'clock. I got there at 20 to 9 and there were quite a few people already there. So when I go next year I should get there at flipping 8 o'clock. I could have spent thousands of pounds there and come home with some pretty spectacular trees for my collection and enhance my collection no end. But as you know, I don't want a huge number of trees because I won't be able to spare the time to look after them. Nonetheless, you know, a new one now and again might not be a bad idea. Anyway, even the carrier bag's got a story, because I bought something and then I bought something else, and then I'm walking around, like, you know, with one bag in each arm, and a lady very kindly said, "Do you want a nice strong carrier bag?" And I said, "If you've got one going spare," and it was like this in the back of the car, and then out come the Sainsbury's carrier bag, and then all my worldly goods could go in there all in one go. Anyway, what did we get? We got this nice little pot. This is a nice unglazed pot. Got a price on it. I didn't actually pay that, I did argue. That's the whole beauty of those sort of things, you can haggle. And it's a one-day event. I suspect if you stayed until very near the end, when people are thinking about packing up, they'd be almost giving stuff away, because otherwise they have to pack it up and take it home again, don't they? I'll remember that next year. Anyway, this is destined for my little larch that I got, that's already been styled to a degree, came with wire on, and basically I talked to a couple of people. I said, "I've got a Japanese larch, what colour shape pot works well with larch?" And they said, "You need to go for the earth colours, so that you've got some sort of contrast for the nice green, especially when the shoots are young." So I deliberately looked for a nice unglazed pot in earthy shades of, well, clay colour. So that's that one. Then what else did we get? We got this one. Oh, this is going to be fun, getting them out. Oof. Now I got this one. This is a good sized pot. It's heavy too. It's a pale colour, so I'm not quite sure what I would put in that, but a pot that size for, well, just over 20 quid, I was happy with. Most of the ones that I've been looking at online were a lot more than that, and you know, I mean, it's nothing special. It's not a named potter or anything like that, but it's uniform. It hasn't got any flaws on it, and it's got this nice edging and panels to it, so I quite like that one. So that was another one. Gonna run out of space in a minute. Ugh. That was that one. And then this one I liked a lot, and I did actually pay that for it, because the guy said, "I'm not letting that go for any less." Beautiful glaze on it. Beautiful glaze. Absolutely love that. And that's got "Put a Forest in Me" written all over it, hasn't it? That's for a forest, definitely. It's actually got a stamp on it. So I don't know what that means. Could mean next to nothing. But it's got a chip out of the foot. Well, that's invisible, isn't it? It's even the back of the foot, so it doesn't even show. I like that a lot. It's got wiring holes, good drainage. It's a proper pot. And that glaze is just gorgeous. Especially when you get areas like this. So that one I liked a lot. And then this last one is really, really special. This is very, very special. Why is it special? Because it's onyx. Or it's a very good plastic imitation. It's a plastic pot. But it's an imitation bonsai pot. And quite honestly, from a distance, it looks pretty good. I didn't pay much at all for that. But again, it's a pot for a forest. And even if it's only a temporary pot for a forest, it's got wiring holes, drainage, it's you know, and it's plastic. So it's not going to crack or mess about in the winter, and if I drop it, it won't break. Just a bit of fun really, but yeah, I quite liked it. I saw it from a distance and naturally assumed that I never even gave it a thought that it was plastic. It looked real. And then I got closer and closer and I thought, that looks like onyx. Surely not, it can't be. Of course, as soon as I picked it up, it's light as a feather. But it has got an onyx look about it. It's a bit of fun. Right, turn the camera off for a minute because the rest of what I got is outside. I'll have to bring it in. Can you tell what it is yet? I'll be back. Okay, right, number one. There's a little juniper. The guy had a row of these all along the front of his bench. I was dripping water everywhere. I did actually throw some water on it this morning. Yeah, he had a row of these, and on the end of the bench was a lovely cascade juniper. And he said, this row along here are all cuttings off of this one. And I said, do you know what variety it is? He said, not a clue. It could be a Chinese juniper. It has the look about it. I don't know. It's been pre-wired, and that wire is biting in a few places. It must have some reasonable roots, I'm assuming, because of the new growth. Yeah. So what I propose to do with this is next to nothing, but I am going to take the wire off as it's starting to bite in. I would imagine that the curve that's been put in the trunk is set by now, I would think. If it bounces back a bit, it won't be the end of the world. And any of the smaller branches that move when the wire comes off can always be reset again next year. But at the moment, that's to grow on, you know, and hopefully get a nice thick trunk, and hopefully I can make something out of that. Right, and the next one, there's been a hole in my collection for a long time. A type of tree that I've always wanted, and all I've ever seen is little sticks, you know, like cuttings with some roots on the end. I've never seen, and then the huge things, you know, for sort of 2,000 quid and everything. And I saw this at a distance, it stood out at a distance, and I thought, if that's less than this, I'm having it. And it was, so I had it. So what we've got is a pretend triple trunk trident maple, because it isn't a triple trunk, it's 3 trees. But they would fuse together in time. They've already started to fuse together here, this one hasn't. So effectively 3 trident maples, which could be separated. But the first thing I thought of doing, because the growth on these 3 is quite top heavy, but there are branches lower down. So right time of year next year, I could air layer the tops of these That will push the growth down, yeah, and start expanding and all that sort of stuff. And I could get 2 or 3 new trees out of it. I mean, the top of this tree has got some movement, you know, it's got some shape to it. That could be the start of a nice tree. Has it been chopped at the top? Difficult to tell. I think it has been trunk chopped at the top there, but plenty of growth anyway. This one definitely has been chopped, which probably means yes, and the third one has as well. So they've all had a trunk chop. Nonetheless, they would lend themselves to an air layer, or not. They could just stay as they are, you know, and just leave it as a fused tree. The only thing I would do probably, let's get it away from the camera a bit, is it goes big, middle, little, which is a little unconventional. So this will have to be repotted. It's in a cheap bit of plastic at the moment, and it's not the right shape. It's not conducive to getting a nice root spread. What this needs doing is putting in a deeper pot with something underneath the base of the trees to push the roots outwards. Not this time of year though. So at the beginning of next year, bud burst, we'll repot, and at that time there will be more growth. We'll see what to do. But I think if I'm going to leave them as a group of 3, I would take the little one and put it the other side, so that the largest is in the middle and then the 2 smaller ones are either side of it. That would be a little more conventional. But at the end of the day with bonsai, it's your creation, it's your design. At the end of the day, if I thought I liked big, medium, little, then I'd be happy to leave it like that. At the moment, it doesn't matter because I'm not moving anything around or changing anything until the beginning of next year. But what I will do for the rest of this year is stop all top growth from growing, take it off, and then maybe some energy will come into some of these lower branches. You know, we've got a branch here that's pushing on. Well, that would make a nice first branch if this little tree wasn't there. If this little tree was over that side, this would be a great first branch. And again on the middle one. So yeah, undecided whether it stays as a group of 3 or whether it becomes a twin trunk and grow the little one on separately, as it's the one that's least fused. So just keep 2, spread them apart a little more. As I said, they're not fused solid yet. Or 3 separate trees, you know, or there's many choices there, but I liked that on the grounds that they looked nice trees, nice foliage, and a multitude of choices as to what to do with them, and none of those choices will be made yet. So apart from things like this, where there's new growth branching out, where little ends have been nipped and it's branching, it needs nipping again, it needs pushing back another one to stop all these extensions, and then maybe a little bit more effort will be put into the lower branches just for now, just, you know, for the rest of the growing season. There's not a lot left, it's August now already, you know, so we'll be thinking about autumn in the not too distant future, unfortunately. So there we go, 2 new trees, little shaped juniper to work with, to grow on, and a set of 3 trident maples. These don't come up very often nowadays. They used to be incredibly popular. I mean, they're renowned for being about as easy as it gets. You know, they'll air layer, they'll strike from cuttings, they're hard as nails, they're vigorous, you know, they've got an awful lot going for them. And you can reduce the leaf size down relatively easily by just pulling the big leaves off. Every time you walk past it and water it, take 10 big leaves off, and you'll reduce the leaf size quite quickly. Anyway, that's what I got. Some pots and 2 new trees. As I said, if I had money coming out of my ear holes, I could have probably spent £4,000 or £5,000 there and filled up the car with good bonsai and some quality pots, all at reasonable prices. That's the beauty of the boot sale. There's some traders there but there's also just ordinary private sellers, people whose collections have got a bit too big and they want to downsize, you know. Or sometimes after you've been looking after a tree for 20 years, you might just get fed up with it and want something different. And that's the place to go to get rid of some of yours and perhaps buy some more in. So will I be going next year? Yeah, try and stop me. See you next time. Thanks for dropping by. And don't forget, if you're not subscribed, it would be awfully nice if you did so, because I am trying to get those numbers up to that magic 3 digits. We're slowly getting there, but you know, it would be nice to push that on. And thanks for watching. See you next time.